Thank you all for coming this morning, and I'd like to thank my colleagues here. Yesterday, representatives of about 30 different humanitarian and human rights organizations, think tanks, academics met together with representatives from the Rohingya advocacy groups and for a day-long roundtable discussion on the current crisis in Bangladesh and Myanmar. The purpose of the roundtable was to exchange views, inform the understandings and decisions of participating organizations, and to develop concrete and actionable recommendations for the consideration of the Government of Canada with regard notably to Canada's role in from April 22nd to the 24th meeting in Toronto at the G7 Foreign Affairs and Defense Ministers and other multilateral fora such as the Commonwealth and the United Nations. It was hosted by the Human Rights Research Center and Education Center at the University of Ottawa. And we had notable inputs from the Honorable Bob Rae, who was the Special Envoy to Myanmar, Alan Rock, former Canadian Minister and Ambassador to the UN. We had inputs from the Nobel Peace Prize laureate Mayreed Maguire, Rohingya lawyer Razia Sultana, the Honorable Lloyd Axworthy, former Canadian Minister and Chairperson of the World Refugee Council, and Canadian officials attended the meeting at different times of the day. The purpose of this was to build on the report of Canada's Special Envoy to Myanmar's report. Discussions were structured around three main areas that require urgent action and coordination. So we discussed the humanitarian crisis, civilian protection and refugee reintegration, and the question of impunity. Discussions on all the areas recognize that the current crisis in Myanmar and Bangladesh is the most recent and severe manifestation of several decades of marginalization of ethnic minorities in Myanmar. Solutions will therefore need to be multi-pronged and multifaceted, and coordination needs to be sustained. And we hope that the meeting yesterday is just another step along a continued effort by these groups and stakeholders. Thank you. You know, there's 1 million people that are living now in Bangladesh, and any way you try to move these people around, it's going to be very difficult. So, you know, eventually they will have to go back, I believe, to their homeland. But the difference now is, you know, you could really see that Canada has taken this seriously with the appointment of Bob Rae. Even his report is groundbreaking in a sense that it's not from an institution, as in like an NGO or the UN. It's from a government that is now taking this up on itself. And I believe that Canada does view themselves as the leader in this issue. So, you know, these conditions that Bob Rae was speaking about, and we discussed yesterday, it's going to take time for it to be met, where it's going to be voluntary, where it's going to be safe and secure with dignity, with their citizenship in hand. But, you know, eventually I think there's no option, because Bangladesh isn't going to, you know, there's been some that have been living in the Bangladeshi camps for 25 years, in refugee camps, so they can't continue to live under those circumstances. And I just wanted to add that there is a co-chair summary of yesterday's roundtable meeting. This is going to be available publicly and will be submitted to the government as well for the G7 summit and moving forward.
And